Hello, thank you for joining me today. My name is Katina and I have a flow that is all standing today. We will end up on our back on the mat, but if you want to skip that, feel free to tap out before that time. We're going to begin standing. You can be facing the front of your mat. I'm going to face you just so that we're able to connect. Bring your hips or your feet the hip distance apart, your hips to feet distance. You know what I mean. And start to rock back and forth on your feet, going from back to front to back, and side to side. Pick up your toes, spread them apart. Really root down from your feet. Wiggle out your hips. Shake it all out. Any shakes you have in you. Roll your head from side to side. Maybe bring your chin front to the side, down to the front to the side. And come to stillness in the middle. Inhale, lift your shoulders up. And exhale, draw them down out of your ears, palms facing forward. Begin to drop in to your body. Breathing in and out through your nose. That Ujjayi breath, pranayama. Filling your belly fully on every inhale. And getting all the air out on that exhale. And inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. On the exhale, let your right hand get your left wrist. And reaching over to the right, your gaze goes up through your left forearm. Inhale, reaching back up. Exhale, switch sides and lean over to the left. Your gaze up through your forearm. Reaching up. Same thing, other side. Right hand grabs the left wrist. Exhale, lean to the right. Your gaze goes up through that left forearm. Inhale, reaching up again. Exhale, grab a hold of the right wrist, leaning left. And come to standing. You're going to exhale and fold. Dive forward. In this forward fold, facing the front top of your mat, you can have a nice bend in your knees. Let your head hang. Maybe you pedal out your feet here, bending one knee and then the other. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. And exhale your hands to heart center. Inhale, sweep your arms up, bringing your right leg with you. And exhale, stepping back to that crescent lunge. So both heels are lifted, both feet are facing the front of the mat. Your front left knee is bent. Your shoulders are out of your ears, your arms are up. If this is too much on your shoulders, you can cactus your arms, and of course, you're also welcome to have your hands on your hips. I invite you to move in a way that your body is calling for you to do. So tuck your pelvis. Your back leg can be straight or bent. Wherever your arms are, exhale and bring them down, hinging at the hips, leaning forward. We're going to, on our inhale, step up into Tree Vrksasana, bringing your right leg to this inside of your left leg. You can have it here on the ground, your calf. You're welcome to bring it to your inner thigh, making sure your hips are squared to the front of your mat. Your hands to heart center. It's okay if you fall, just come right back up to it. And continue with your Ujjayi pranayama. Inhale, reach your arms up. Bring your left right knee up. I'm sorry. Exhale, step back and open to warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. So for warrior 2, your left knee is bent over your heel. Your right foot is at a 45-degree angle. Your arms are parallel to the ground. You're not too far forward or too far back. You're centered. Very active. Your hips are facing the right side of your mat. Your gaze is over that left hand in front of you. Breathe in here and out. Can you sink a little lower? On your next exhale, straighten that front leg, reverse triangle. Right arm comes down the right leg. Left arm overhead. Your gaze comes up through your left forearm. A slight back bend. We're going to inhale and exhale here. Inhale once again. Your next exhale, come to center. Setting up for triangle. Feel free to heel toe that back foot in a little bit more to shorten your stance. Hinge forward at the hips and then tilting down, bringing your left hand inside of your left leg and your right arm up to the ceiling. Your gaze follows up to that right hand. Of course, it could be right out in front of you, or if you want stability, looking at the ground. If you have a block, it might be nice to have a block here. Your shoulders are stacked. Your right hip is reaching up to the ceiling as though someone had a string right here pulling you up. If your back was flat against the wall, your whole body would be flat against the wall. And come up straight. Turn your feet to the long side of your mat, coming into star pose, reaching really big. You're going to come into eagle arms, bringing your right arm under your left. You're welcome to embrace yourself here. Give yourself a big hug. If you want to take the bind, you're getting your hands interlaced, whatever feels good in your body. We're going to come down into a goddess squat with our eagle arms. Continue to breathe. Release your arms, inhale back up. Exhale into a side angle. Left foot at the front. Whew, don't fall. If you do, bonus points. Left toes are facing the front. Right back foot is at a 45-degree angle. Your left elbow can be on your left thigh, your right hand up to the ceiling. Once again, it feels like your hip is being pulled up energetically. There's no one actually pulling you. Cartwheel your arms, bring your legs to center. We're coming into Skandasana at the back of the mat here. So you're welcome to stay here, to come down low. If you feel that you want to lift your back heel off the ground, you're welcome to do that. Your left toes are facing up. Feel free to bring your hands to Anjali Mudra in front of your heart, or keep them on the ground. Whatever your body is calling for, honor that. And just be here another moment. All right, lower that left foot down and come into a wide leg forward fold. So for this, both your toes are facing the long side of the mat. Your hands are in front of you. You can lower down to your elbows if you would like, or stay standing upright. And begin to walk yourself up if you have lowered down. You're gonna walk your hands back to the front of the mat, turning your left toes and your right toes, coming into a runner's lunge. Plant your right hand, bring your left arm up to the ceiling for a twist. And bring that hand back down. We're going to step forward into a chair. So step your right foot forward, inhale, reaching up, standing Tadasana, exhale, sitting in your chair. It's also okay here to have your arms cactused or on your hips, whatever feels better in your body. Traditional, your arms are up by the side of your head, reaching upwards. Make sure your feet are on the ground. And inhale, come up, bring your left leg right with you. I'm going to step back into that crescent lunge. On this side, once again, you can have your arms cactus on your hips, whichever feels better in your body. Honor what you need. Back leg can be bent or straight. Exhale. On your next inhale, step forward, bringing that left leg width and coming to tree, Vrksasana. Left foot can be on the ground, inside the calf, resting inside your thigh. Hands to heart center, hands on your hips, hands up. Just make sure your hips are facing the front of your mat. And continue to breathe. Inhale, reach your arms up once again. And this time, exhale, stepping the left foot back. Sorry, plant. To warrior two. On this side, your right knee bent, your hips facing the back of the mat. Your gaze is over your right hand. And reverse triangle, straighten your front leg. Right arm comes overhead, leaning back. Your gaze through the right forearm. Left arm down the left leg. Exhale. Inhale. On your next exhale, come up to center. If you would like the heel toe in that back foot, feel free to do so. Hinging forward and coming down for your Trikonasana, triangle pose. If you can reach the ground, you can do that. Just make sure you're not arching forward. In order to do so, you want your back to be super flat. And cartwheel your arms up, coming into star pose. And exhale, this time your left arm comes under. You're welcome to hug yourself or to take the bind on this side and sit down into your goddess. I guess you have horse stance legs, and hold right here. Just a moment. Inhale, release. Come back into that side angle. This time, your right elbow to your right thigh. Left arm up to the ceiling. And cartwheel that arm open, bending into the left leg. Skandasana to the back of the mat, bending the left leg. Your hands can be at heart center, on the ground. You're welcome to lift up that back foot Whatever feels right in your body, honor what you need. Just be here for another moment. Continue to breathe. Bring your hands down, lifting up into your wide leg forward fold. You can be up high, bring your elbows to the ground, whatever you need. And bring your head to the ground. It might feel good to have your head on a block here, if you have one. If you have lowered down to your elbows, come up, spin to the front of your mat, coming momentarily into that runner's lunge, bringing your left hand to the ground, opening your right arm up to the ceiling for that easy twist. And bring your right hand down. We're going to step forward with our left foot, coming up to Tadasana, and then lowering into chair. So bring your foot forward, hands up, and sit down into your chair pose, Utkatasana. Everyone's favorite, right? Maybe not. And exhale, fold. Step your right foot back. Doesn't have to be too far. We're going to come up for warrior one. So for warrior one, it might feel better to have your feet on railroad tracks versus a balance beam. Your hips are facing forward. Your front knee is bent. Traditionally, your arms are overhead. Your gaze is upwards. But I'm not one for tradition. If your shoulders are screaming, feel free to cactus your arms or bring your hands to your hips. Do make sure your hips are squared to the front of your mat. And make sure your back heel is down at a 45-degree angle. This is a much shorter stance than you would have in your warrior two. It might not be, but it might be. And that's okay. Once again, railroad tracks are fine. If balance beam is not happening for you, the goal is to have your hips facing forward. Exhale, step that foot in a little bit more. We're going to straighten our front leg and hinge forward for pyramid. So hinge until you cannot hinge anymore, and then you can round your back and release your hands down. Might feel good to have blocks. Or just fold and bring your hands to the ground. It should feel as though your right hip is pulling forward and your left hip is pulling back. Continue to breathe here. Briefly, we'll take a revolved pyramid or revolved triangle. So keeping your right hand grounded, sweep your left arm up to the ceiling, bringing your gaze with it. And lower that hand. We're going to step forward. Inhale, reaching up to Tadasana. Exhale, cactus your arms, a little back bend. Inhale up and exhale, fold. Step your left foot back for warrior one. And inhale, reaching your arms up. Once again, your options here. You can have that stance that's the balance beam stance, but if you find in this stance that your hips are turning this way, I'd prefer for you to have the railroad track stance here. Making sure your hips are facing the front of the mat and your back foot is down. Your arms are up, cactus or on your hips. And step that foot in a bit, hinging forward until you can't hinge anymore, and then rounding down for pyramid pose. Letting your head hang. Your right hip is reaching back, your left hip is reaching forward. Briefly coming into your revolved pyramid here. So left hand comes down, right hand up to the ceiling, your gaze follows. And bring that hand down. Step your foot back. If you're into downward dog, if you are not here for the mat work, then go ahead and tap out. If you are, we are moving onto our mat, onto the ground. Step your feet together. Inhale, lift your right foot up. Exhale, your right knee to your right wrist. Your shin comes somewhat parallel to the front of the mat. Your left leg extends out long, coming down to pigeon pose. Your hips facing forward. You can lower down to your elbows. Come down to your head. Whatever feels right in your body. And start to work your way up. Coming back up to your downward dog momentarily. This time sweep your left leg up to the ceiling. Exhale, bringing your left knee to your left wrist. Your shin somewhat parallel, does not have to be parallel. The front of the mat, extending your right leg out long, making sure your hips are squared to the front of the mat. Lowering down, it's fine to stay here. It's fine to stay here. It's fine to come here. Whatever feels good and right in your body, honor that. Once you feel even, start to come up, and this time just spin around, coming down to your back. However is comfortable for you. Bring your knees into your chest and rock side to side. Let your knees fall to the right. Bring your arms out to a T, bringing your left shoulder to the ground, and your gaze follows to the left. You can bring your eyes down, closed, if that feels good. Come back up through center. Let your knees fall to the left. This time, bringing your gaze to the right, bringing your right shoulder to the ground. Of course, you can have your eyes shut. When you feel even, come back to center, hug your knees into your chest. Maybe you want to take a happy baby. You Getting your feet in your hands, rocking side to side. And bring your legs out long, finding stillness. Your arms down to the side for your final savasana, your corpse pose. And finish the practice here. When you feel like you've had enough savasana, you're welcome to stay there as long as you need. Roll to one side. Hi, Oliver. And start to come up to a comfortable seat to close out this practice. Thank you so much for joining me today, wherever you're joining me from. I appreciate you joining me on this journey into deepening your practice, opening your hips, opening your shoulders, opening your mind. If you enjoyed this flow, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you so much.